The Sunday school lesson for July 20th, 2025 is Bake Sales Gone Bad. John chapter 2, verses 13 through 25. Welcome, viewers and subscribers to my channel, The Backstory and More. I am Audrey. If you are new here, please notice the agenda. I will share the backstory, read the lesson text, and offer a brief lesson summary. The backstory takes us to John chapter 2, verses 1 through 12. This is the narrative of Jesus' first miracle recorded by John. John refers to himself as the disciple whom Jesus loved and was one of Jesus' closest companion during his earthly ministry. Jesus changes water into wine. On the third day, a wedding took place at Cana in Galilee. Jesus' mother was there, and Jesus and his disciples had also been invited to the wedding. When the wine was gone, Jesus' mother said to him, "They have no more wine." "Woman, why do you involve me?" Jesus replied, "My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Nearby stood 6 stone water jars, the kind used by the Jews for ceremonial washing, each holding from 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus said to the servants, "Fill the jars with water." So they filled them to the brim. Then he told them, "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet." They did so, and the master of the banquet tasted the water that had been turned into wine. He did not realize where it had come from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew. Then he called the bridegroom aside and said, "Everyone brings out the choice wine first, and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much to drink. But you have saved the best till now." What Jesus did here in Cana of Galilee was the first of the signs through which he revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. After this, he went down to Capernaum with his mother and brothers and his disciples. There they stayed for a few days. The backstory ends here, and our lesson begins with the next frame. Verses 13 through 14. When it was almost time for the Jewish Passover, Jesus went up to Jerusalem. In the temple courts, he found people selling cattle, sheep, and doves, and others sitting at tables exchanging money. Verses 15 through 16. So he made a whip out of cords and drove all from the temple courts, both sheep and cattle. He scattered the coins of the money changers and overturned their tables. To those who sold doves, he said, "Get these out of here. Stop turning my father's house into a market." Verses 17 through 19. His disciples remembered that it is written, "Zeal for your house will consume me." The Jews then responded to him, "What sign can you show us to prove your authority to do all this?" Jesus answered them, "Destroy this temple, and I will raise it again in 3 days. Verses 20 through 21. They replied, "It has taken 46 years to build this temple, and you are going to raise it in 3 days?" But the temple he had spoken of was his body. Verses 22 through 23. After he was raised from the dead, his disciples recalled what he had said. Then they believed the scripture and the words that Jesus had spoken. Now, while he was in Jerusalem at the Passover festival, many people saw the signs he was performing and believed in his name. Verses 24 through 25. But Jesus would not entrust himself to them, for he knew all people. He did not need any testimony about mankind, for he knew what was in each person. A very brief summary. The temple cleansing is part of a series of events that clarified Jesus' mission, how he would purify his people, whether he would be an outsider like John the Baptist or part of mainstream Judaism, and how the Messiah would treat the Samaritans. The temple in Jerusalem was central to Jewish religious life, but it had become controversial. For several generations, the temple had been led by a family of priests who were corrupt. They profited by selling animals for sacrifice and exchanging Roman currency for temple currency. As a whole, the situation suggested a combination of complacency and corruption that Jesus confronted. His veiled reference to his death and resurrection would be remembered and used against him 3 years later. Thank you so very much for listening. Stay safe and may God bless.